Don, welcome back, because I know last week you were out of town.
Thank you so much, Pastor,
We're
and
just
happy
good.
anniversary
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank
Happy
you.
7th
Thank you.
anniversary.
I
That's
appreciate
not easy.
No, it's not.
This is what we
It's
know.
unpacking agape, though. That's what we got
This
to do.
is what we have to do. Exactly. Stop rubbing your.
Yeah.
It itches. It itches.
We
What the old folks say when it's itching, it's healing.
Let it heal.
I know folks
So
say.
we gonna let it heal.
Yeah, but you know, that's something you gotta pick at it. You gotta pick at it. Picking at it. Listen, y'all, we are excited about what happened in college basketball. Don Staley. Not only did she won the championship back in her day.
Now at UVA, I'm not.
I think so.
Sure.
And then, but she was the player of the year.
Yes.
Now, and she's been the coach of the year.
That's
and now
right.
she has
3 times.
Right. So now we're grateful for her leadership, and we are grateful for how she expressed her gratitude to her Heavenly Father.
Yes.
To make it back to that particular place. So I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
With that being said, hey, y'all, this show is brought to you by Trifold Outreach Ministries. That meets in Zoom now, but when the physical address comes back, it will be 49 Dry Creek Road, Goodlettsville, Tennessee. This show is brought to you by Forever Zion, www.foreverzion.com. Paparazzi Jewelry for your boo, your bae, your significant, your subordinate, your cousin, your friend, and your enemy. Go to www.foreverzion.com. This show is brought to you by the Ephesian Primitive Baptist Church, 1506 22nd Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee, 37208. This show is brought to you by worldclasstraining.net.
Yes.
And this show is brought to you by Business Consulting.
Okay.
Where Lady Stacy does her thing. So we have 2 powerful, influential women here with us today on the Yak, the Yolanda and Cornelia show. Y'all, I wish we had more time, but we don't. So this is part 1 of part 4. So I'm already committing 3 more parts.
What?
Already.
Okay, I heard it.
Listen, can I get a second?
Amen. Wow.
Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Anyway, all right.
On the second. We working on the second.
Listen, talk to me, ladies. Talk to me, Don.
Yes, Pastor.
Throw it out. Stacy's going to pick us up.
Okay.
We're going to continue to have a great conversation on the Yak.
Well, yeah. Thank you for allowing me to even have this space to have this conversation today. As I shared with you, over the last several weeks, I kind of took a look at Dawn Staley and throughout the Final Four. Really, I really tapped in from the Elite 8 through the championship journey, and I had already written about her in Unpacking Agape because she was in this movie Netflix had called The Coach's Playbook.
Okay.
And in that, they had 4 different coaches who had, achieved success. But in that one, she talked about this piece where she gives herself 24 hours from a great failure or great success to either revel in the failure or celebrate the success and then move on. Right. And so when she said that in the movie, that really just caught me. And she was really referencing her experience at UVA where she lost the championship. And she was saying she couldn't let that go for quite some time. And so I've kind of carried that with me now to say, you know what, if something really great happens, then I'm celebrating it. But if something really bad happens, I have to give myself, especially, and I'm sure you know this too, Stacey, being in business, 24 hours to have that pity party, and then we have to move on. Yeah. And so to see her go through this leadership walk, and I've listened to her through several of the YouTube interviews and things like that, she just said some things that I wanted us to kind of tap into and talk about from a leader's perspective, because I think that also peppered her success. So for instance, she talked about how she had to meet her students her team members, I guess you could call them young ladies, right. Young ladies, not children. Where they were, they wouldn't communicate back to her at first. And she had to develop them from the place that they were to get them where they are. And she did that by setting a standard. So, and I heard you even say that the other day when we were after your anniversary, you were like, I have to now meet these new people where they are. So what do you guys think about that? Having to, because sometimes leaders come in and they say, you know what, it's going to be my way. It's got to be my way or the highway. And sometimes they're met with opposition because of that. So what do you guys think about the importance of really meeting the team? And you can talk about that too, Pastor Hill, from why you said it the other day, where they are, and then setting a standard and working with them incrementally to get them to where they need to be.
Absolutely. What you're talking about is emotional intelligence right there.
That's it.
That's a buzzword.
That's my buzzword.
Oh, it is.
I met my new best friend. That's that.
In any leadership position that I've ever held, you have to meet people where they are.
Yep.
People are coming from different spaces, different backgrounds, and it's very important as a leader. And we've spoken about this before too. Post-COVID, you can just about, pre-COVID, you can do just about anything.
That's right.
Post-COVID, you cannot. You have to make adjustments accordingly.
That's right.
Especially with a Gen Z millennial type of staff.
Yes,
They will not be tolerated.
Nope.
They're not tolerable of do as I say.
That's right.
Right?
Yes, they are not.
So you have to meet them where they are.
You have to meet them where they are. That's right. And like Pastor Hill said, emotional intelligence is my jam. That's my jam. So you just but yeah, that's that social awareness piece. Mm-hmm. So you do a temperature check of your team, and then you're able to socially regulate based on really understanding and having empathy for the people you're serving. So that was one thing that I really wanted to tap into. And then the other one was she talked about how her team, her coaching staff gets the credit for, right?
Yes.
For the success of that team.
Yeah.
We all know that coaches have staff, but there are times when coaches don't mention the great people around them who end up helping them to get success. And she, in fact, in the championship game, she even mentioned the coach who helped, I think his name was Gandhi or something, who helped really honing in on Caitlin Clark and being able to hold her back. Yes. And so to me, that's important too. To me, that's part of being a caretaker of your team and steward, as I call it, stewarding the ship. And so, I wanted to talk about that too a little bit.
Yeah.
How as leaders and why as leaders, it's important to really celebrate the people around you. First, make sure you have good people around you, but also to celebrate those people.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you all. I don't know anything about basketball.
That's okay.
I know one doggone thing about basketball. You guys are talking about all this language and everything. I understand the concept of sports. I never played one.
Yes.
But what I hear, and I only know the controversy because I saw her talking about God on TV, and she had to come back and have a conversation, and she's doing a commercial with one of my companies. But one of the things what you're talking about is a servant leader.
Yeah, there it is.
Servant leadership allows for other people to take the lead get the credit while I stand back in the back. I don't need to be seen.
Exactly.
I don't need to be seen. And I would ask leaders as they're investing time into their staff and meeting them where they are, is to take a step back and let them get the shine, because everybody knows that you're the boss.
Exactly.
She's the coach.
Right.
She's going to get recognition.
That's right.
But however many people that's on her staff, they need to get their recognition.
That's right.
And that's good that she's doing that.
Yeah, that is. It's very good. In fact,
You can't win without a team.
You cannot win without a team. And
she understands that. She knows what it's like to lose with one. Now it's her time to win with one.
Yeah. Because
maybe that's just a decision. It's one decision.
It has to
be make you say, well, I can leave a winner or leave a loser.
Yeah. You know what I thought was interesting? They said when the championship happened in South Carolina won, they said South Carolina beat Caitlin Clark. And I thought to myself, it's because a team is going to beat an individual if the team is good all day long. Yeah. So, or they would say South Carolina beat Caitlin Clark and the Iowa whomever. We don't really, we know the team members for South Carolina. And I like basketball, but I wasn't keyed in until the Elite Eight. But to me, that spoke volumes, and it's to what you all say, hey, that's servant leadership, and that's also understanding that the whole cannot be greater than the sum of its parts. And if we're operating individually, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough.
One can never be five.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love the fact that she gave this wonderful exploit to her Heavenly Father.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and she had a church moment.
Why do you think that was a challenge for people? Some people. Because some people said, well, Don Staley is talking about God and what?
It was a challenge because we've made him secondary in culture.
Right.
And we counsel people now who, there's a counsel culture who literally is vehemently against religiosity and spirituality, especially the traditional WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. So for whatever reason, that's their agenda, that's their business. But years ago, thank God, it was never a problem.
Right.
It's not here recently.
Right.
That has become a taboo statement.
Right.
And a taboo expression that we just counsel that out.
Yeah, I find that so odd. I found that so odd because I said, and again, I don't.
What you mean?
There are some things that we hail nowadays that could be back then seen as something that you don't even talk about, like this whole gender, fluidity. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's something that we're supposed to be getting more comfortable with. Yeah. But God is something that we're supposed to be getting less comfortable with. I mean, I just had to sit in that for a minute. To some people, because I think
somebody else won something that was big on God. Was it the Super Bowl? One of the athletes was God.
Right.
And or something they was cutting it out. But Don Staley had a Baptist altar call.
She had a whole altar call.
She done laid prostrate on the gym floor.
Yes.
Which is culturally acceptable for those of us who understand that culture.
Right.
But I think for some individuals that is a little over the top and unnecessary.
Well, what we talked about too, I taught emotional intelligence just last week in when I was Pensacola, and we talked about how moments of eustress and distress have to be self-regulated, right?
Slow down. We heard you.
Yes.
But
unpack it.
You unpack that.
So eustress.
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 Pause. Eustress.
Pause. Yes. Moments of excitement, jubilation, celebration. Those are moments when you are supposed to have emotions that are in alignment with the moment. Just like in moments of distress, you may have emotions that come to surface that are in alignment with the moment, right? And so even when she had to kind of answer for her expressing her emotion, I thought that was a bit unusual I think that it's because some of us have learned to suppress our joy. And we shouldn't learn to suppress our joy. I say to some people, some people can't even say that they really love somebody because they've been hurt. And so now they've masked that part of them. And it's all part of the human experience. The celebration and the discontent, right? And so we have to learn how to regulate ourselves accordingly.
Yeah. I think you mentioned earlier about meeting people, meeting your employees, meeting her team where they are.
Yes.
I think society didn't meet her where she was. And where she was in a space of joy and excitement. And she wanted to give thanks to her Father in heaven.
Yes.
I think maybe the rub came from when she said, if you don't believe, honey, if you do not believe.
Okay.
And so I think the rub came from her calling out. So that was, hey, I thank God for this moment.
Okay.
But then it was a call out to the people that said, wait a minute, if you don't believe in this, there's an issue.
Right.
And so now she's taking it from off of herself and shedding it outward. And I believe that was really that's the controversy. Right?
Gotcha.
But then it became more about God.
Right.
And it's not, because that's her belief system.
Right.
You can't question a person's belief system.
Yeah.
Whether it's about gender fluidity or it's about leadership or it's about God, their relationship with their God, whatever they believe in.
Right.
You just have to meet the people and accept you in this beautiful, wonderful yellow dress. It's gorgeous. I love that you chose that color for you.
Thank you.
And me meeting you right there.
Yes, right.
Just meet her.
Exactly.
You had a great choice, great color, looks good on you.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
That's
As this blue looks good on you. And I love blue. You know, that's my other color. Absolutely.
But we're so critical.
And we are so critical.
We live in a society that just champions criticism.
Yes, we do.
We don't want to compliment anymore.
We don't. Which speaks to the other thing that I wanted to tap into that I thought she did so remarkably well throughout the whole series, which was celebrate others, people who were not even on her team. And so often we think, hey, you know what? If they're not on my team, I can't celebrate them doing well, right? But everybody has to understand the sun shines on us all.
That's right.
Yeah.
So me shining the light on you isn't going to take it away from me.
Yeah. We can both exist. We can all three exist.
That's right.
And succeed and thrive.
That's right.
There's space for us all.
There is space for us all. There is space for us all. Yes. And
let's shift.
Yes. Pastor.
You said the sun, space for us all. We can all shine suns on all of us.
That's right.
Last week we had an eclipse. And the sun didn't shine. The culture that we live in is not. Some of us live in the totality of darkness.
We said that together.
That was good. Yes.
We do not recognize the sun shining on us.
Yes.
Because of how we think. Eustress, de-stress.
Right.
There was a little girl who couldn't see the eclipse because here in Nashville, we really couldn't see it.
Yes. Right.
There were too many barriers for us to see it.
Right.
So when you start dealing with people who are very critical, I have to unlayer or unpack that. And I look at some of the barriers.
Right. Exactly.
That keep them from seeing greatness in them. Because if you don't ever see greatness in you, you will always criticize the greatness in me.
That's it. Yes.
Now it's more about what your self-perception.
Right.
And now your perception, you're projecting it on me.
Right.
How you really feel and think about you.
Right. Yeah. That's
so when
absolutely
things
true.
happen. Outside of what you expect me to be or become or do, then you project what you think.
That's it.
On me, which is not healthy.
It's not healthy.
And unwarranted.
Unwarranted. That's right. Yes. And
let me say this.
Yes.
Unhealthy, unwarranted, and I dropped the mic. It does not guarantee I'm gonna give you a response.
No.
Stacey don't like me. I'm not gonna respond to that.
You're right.
What is that?
That's not
it's
my
not
business.
Necessary. That part. Exactly.
It's not my business.
It's not my business. That's right. That's it. So, that is not. I heard.
When you're living in totality and when you're in the path of darkness.
Yes.
Light is bothersome.
Light can be very bothersome because it's shocking. Just imagine if we turn the light out in here, right, and leave it out for a moment, and then all of a sudden turn it on.
It's gonna bother me.
It's gonna right. Turn that down, right?
It's bothersome.
Yeah. And so, as it is in a metaphorical sense, it's in a real sense for those people who have found themselves living for a period of time in a space of mental darkness.
Emotional darkness.
Emotional darkness.
Because you talked about it, and you talk about it well, emotional intelligence.
Right.
You talked about eustress. What is de-stress?
Distress is moments of angst or moments of the
angst that we experience.
That's right.
Okay. So your winning is an ain't for me.
It could be.
It could be.
Unless you're strong enough in you where you can still celebrate me. And that's what we were talking about with the whole, how she was still able to celebrate the greatness of a Caitlin Clark or the greatness of some of these other teams, because she recognizes that me shining the light on them doesn't take anything away from the greatness that is
in me.
Right. Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And when we're strong in that, we don't have to worry. We don't have to be concerned because we know that there's space and there's light. I had a friend years ago in Chicago. He was down on oh gosh, those the big apartments that are right there off of King Drive. I can't remember the name of them. But he said his brother said to him, he was in sales and he was struggling. His brother went to the window, opened the curtain, and he said, "You got all that out there, and you telling me you can't get what you need? Mm-hmm. It's all out there."
Yeah. Was it 5 million people in Chicago?
5 million, and if you can't, you have to cast a wide net.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be limited to Chicago.
Yeah, there's a meme that's going around and said, don't let those 20 people that you know stop your business.
That's it.
It's 20 people that you know.
Right.
And they won't buy from me. They won't do anything. They're not supposed to support you.
No.
They're not supposed to. You have to walk in your own path.
That's right. Exactly.
And you will begin to attract those people that are supposed to be walking in the light with you.
That's it.
Some of those people that are in the dark, you might have to leave them right on over there and let them do what they're going to do. And sometimes it looks like your family. It looks like that person you grew up to high school with.
Yes.
It looks like your baby daddy.
Yes.
It looks like your baby mama.
Okay.
It might even be your kids.
It might be.
You have to leave them so that way you can stretch yourself.
That's it.
And because I'm building the confidence in my mind, my spirit, and my body,
yes,
I can pour into you.
Yes.
And say, girl, do your leadership.
You're doing that thing.
Do that thing.
You're doing that thing. Exactly.
That's right. I love what you're doing out here in the community.
Right. That's fantastic.
Right. Because it doesn't take away from me.
No.
By pouring into you.
No. In fact, I just recently got into an agreement with another young lady, and we were able to. I was at the brink of not getting this agreement with this particular school. Mm-hmm. But he was like, well, if you can do this, then come on.
Yeah.
So I called a lady. I didn't even know her well, but she and I had met, and she had a complimentary service.
Yeah.
The whole became greater than the sum of its parts, and we were able to do work. So that's how we have to think about this thing called life.
Yeah.
There are people who, as you say, but God puts people in our paths.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that it's all part of this cake, right? The German chocolate cake that I talk about that sometimes. You got to have the right ingredients. Like, you got to.
What are the ingredients?
Oh my goodness, you want me to go into that vanilla baker sweet chocolate. You can't just use any kind of chocolate. You got to use Baker's German sweet chocolate. Yes, and I could go, oh no, it's not going to. You got to. And my mama taught me how to do it from scratch. And we don't grab the box. We grab the ingredients. So I can show you. But all of those come together individually. It's not gonna taste good. If you go and just grab a piece of that chocolate, it's not gonna taste good. But if you mix it all with the right ingredients, the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts, and that's what we always have to understand. That's what
Pastor, I think last week we had Miss Cheryl, and I think she was talking about gumbo.
Yeah.
John over here talking about German chocolate. I haven't had German chocolate cake in a long time. I still feel like this family dinner is happening.
I can't make it.
You can make it.
I got you on it.
I can't make it.
You can't come or you can't cook.
I can't make the German chocolate.
Oh, I can make it. I can make that.
I cannot make the
I got
gumbo.
you.
No, that's why we got the family.
I
am anointed to sample.
I even make the frosting from scratch. My son ate the frosting out the pan. My mama taught me how to do all of that. Oh yeah, we may have to have it come there. And then she's from out of town. What do you call that? Friendsgiving, a shy giving.
I'm telling you.
You keep using the word.
Yes.
Talk. My mama talk. My mama talk.
Yes.
My mama talk. My mama talk. Like I keep hearing that. My mama talk. And when you go back and listen, just look at the things that you keep repeating.
Okay.
Who's doing the teaching?
Yes.
Who's responsible for the teaching?
That's true.
What is the new curriculum?
Right. Oh, yes. That's good.
I always talk about my grandmama.
Right. You sure do.
Talk.
Right. That's right.
But who's doing the teaching?
Mm-hmm.
What's the new curriculum? Who's responsible for this stuff?
Yeah. I thought about that the other day. I was putting the address on an envelope. I said, who's teaching these kids how to even address an envelope these days?
They don't know how.
They don't know.
Send a letter.
Who's teaching these kids how to send a letter? They do not know how. So
there's a bankruptcy.
There is.
Yeah, they are. There's a bankruptcy there. I was at Tribeca a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And the dean, and he was like, you have to meet these kids where they are because there's a deficit. They're a bankruptcy.
Yes.
They are conflict adverse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they don't know how
conflict adverse.
Yes.
Averse.
Yes.
And so they don't know how to respond. And you have to think about it. They are your new employees.
Yes, that's right.
And so if they don't know how to handle conflict, they don't know how to send a letter,
right?
They don't know how to ask for help.
That's right.
We are the teachers.
That's right. Yep. That's so true. My son's wife, now he just got married. I was talking to her about sales, and I said sometimes we actually have to call. She's like, "You mean I have to actually call and talk to some people?" I said, "Yeah, you actually
got to pick up the
phone. You have to talk to a live person. Yeah. Imagine that."
Back up. Say that story all over again.
I was telling my Georgia and my daughter-in-law daughter-in-law. My daughter. I can just call her my daughter. I love her like that. And so she was talking about selling. And she wants to start, jewelry making. So she wants to do it at schools. So she was asking me how I do it because, I call people a lot. And so I told her, I said, yeah, you have to go get your list and you'll have to start calling some people. That's actually the best way for me. I said, get to it quickly. She said, you mean I actually have to call and talk to some people? I said, yes, you have to call and talk to some people. Yeah. And that was something that was... It kind of took her left because she's so used to, and she did start selling jewelry online and in the Instagram thing and all of that. But that's not how people, when you're talking about doing this bigger business, which of course, that's not how that happens. You got to have some real conversations. People have to know who you are behind the mask of social media. And that is why some of the new generation are having challenges with conflict. Because they think you can't text it away.
No, you can't.
You can't Instagram post it away. You got to sit down and actually talk. And so it's it can become challenging. So but just thinking about just some of the pieces that to put a button on our whole conversation behind the leadership, Miss Staley and leadership and just why it's so important. Gathering and having a vision that helps align with the steps that you put in place for your team just becomes critical. And I think the reason that she and other leaders find success is because even in the challenge, they keep their eye on the bigger picture and then align the proper steps, human resources, financial resources, and prayer to get to that end goal.